guys, welcome back to the Book Nook Corner. It's Courtney. Today, I'm really excited to come at you with a January and February wrap-up. I am so proud of myself. I feel like I did pretty good. This is pretty good for me anyway. I read 5 books in January and 8 books in February. I am someone who likes to read multiple books at a time. I always have like a bajillion things going, and so it kind of takes me a while sometimes to finish stuff. But because I started buddy reads in like the end of December, we kind of just kept rolling, which then forced me to read because I wanted to be able to chat with these people about the books, and it was just like really inspiring. So I did get a lot more read than I thought I would. But before we do anything else, I wanted to share with you my new shirt. I mean, look how amazing this is. Isn't it lovely? I mean, take her in, right? Like, look at the back. I love it. So anyway, I forget the name of the shop right now on Etsy, but I will share that in the description with you. So go down, check it out. She has so many ACOTAR SJM inspired things. She had a really, really cute Fourth Wing sweatshirt decoration with like the 2 dragons on it that I really like too. So that was a big toss up for me between that one and this one, but I do have to say my allegiance lies with SJM always. So that is where I went. But yeah, just go check her shop out. I'll link it down below. She has some amazing stuff. So getting back to the crux of this video, which is my wrap up. So I know I'm a little bit late with this. It is clearly first week of March, let's be real. But I wanted to still share it with you because it just was fun, and I wanted to inspire people to read these books because so many of them were amazing. So the first book that I did get read was A Memory of Nightshade. I'm going to put the picture up here because I did read it on my Nook. A Memory of Nightshade is the second book in the Scented Court series. So the first one is A Blossom at Midnight, which I enjoyed. Like I said, I'm buddy reading this. Pretty much actually all of these books, every single book in these wrap up, I have buddy read or am reading, buddy reading with people. And so this was the second book in the series that I read with my friend Tara, and like we enjoyed it. We enjoyed the first one enough to read the second one, but we're not like in love with it, but we're both people that have trouble DNFing. So we're like, let's just like continue and see where this goes. Right. So that's what we did. And yeah, I gave this, let me see, I have it on my computer behind me, my list. If you can see, right there is my list. I gave it 3.5 stars, and I'm pretty sure that's what I gave the first book as well, which is kind of frustrating because it's like, I don't know, there was just something about it that like we couldn't quite put our finger on, like slightly immature writing from the author or something. Like, I don't know, there was just an immaturity to it all that we were like, no. You know what I'm saying? But yet the story was interesting enough, and there was 2 characters that we both really enjoyed the most that we wanted to continue their storyline. But like the main character, we both were like, when is this chapter over? Like that kind of thing. So it was like, oh well. I don't really want to spoil too much about it because it is the second book. So we are currently reading the 3rd book for March, or like during March. We probably won't finish it in March. Yeah, we're currently reading the 3rd book. I believe there's 4 books in the series. So we are stubborn and we're going to finish it. So the next book is Two Twisted Crowns, which I did read with the same girl, and I read that on my Kindle. And so here's the picture. This is the sequel to One Dark Window. And I really enjoyed One Dark Window. I believe I gave that one 3.5 or 4 stars. I gave Two Twisted Crowns 4 stars. I did really enjoy this book as well. But I can't say that it is a series that I will like think about all the time, or a duology, excuse me, that I will think about all the time, or that I'll ever want to reread. While I was reading it, I did enjoy it. If that makes any sense at all. I hope it does. It does to me. That's just because like I feel like it was very dark. Like there wasn't a whole lot of like humor or happiness ever in like the whole entire duology. Like it just was kind of like linear, like very dark, very dry, very like desperate all the time. And there were moments of humor, and honestly when they did happen, it caught me so off guard that I was like like, do I laugh? Like it was like awkward because just the whole rest of the story was so like just like dark and heavy. So I don't know, that's kind of like my only complaint that I had. Sorry, my camera shut off. So anyway, yeah, wouldn't really be one that I would necessarily recommend to someone, but here we are. So the next book that I read is Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I did start annotating and then just like ran out of time and I stopped. Anyway, I did give this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed this book. I absolutely loved it. I will let you read the inside flap because I suck at descriptions. This was everything I wanted it to be. I cannot wait until the second one comes out. I love Cassandra Clare's writing personally, and the main character in this, I would say, he's the main character anyway, one of the main characters. His name is Kel, and I don't know what it was about this man, but I found him so incredibly sexy, intriguing, interesting, just, I want to make out with him, okay? So that was where I was at with this book, and that was kind of the driving force, honestly, behind me liking this book. So I mean, clearly it was good, and there was a lot more to like about it. I just really genuinely enjoyed the main character and just kind of the struggles and the life problems that he's gone through. Like, it just was very enjoyable to me. So I definitely highly suggest this book, and like I said, I will be looking forward to the second one. So the next book that I read was Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This was a reread for me. I did give it 5 stars actually on a reread. On my first read through, I think I gave it like 3.5 or 4. I just absolutely love these characters. Like, I love Cordelia and James, which are the 2 main characters in this. Just absolutely love the time period that this is set in. It just has such vibes, and I am here for all of them. Like, just absolutely love historical type things. Here is the description. It just was genuinely enjoyable. I wasn't a huge fan of like all the like slimy monsters and stuff like that sometimes are in her books, like the gore and the ichor or whatever you call like monster blood. That is not my thing, but even though I still enjoyed it and I would highly suggest this series, you can read this, in my opinion, without reading the rest of Cassandra Clare's books, because this was the first book I ever read of hers, and it was nothing was confusing to me. Like, literally, it meant nothing to read the other ones. Like, it didn't harm my read of this whatsoever. So yeah. So my last book that I read in January was City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. So this is technically the first book of the Mortal Instruments. It's the first book that she wrote, I believe. Let's look at the date. This was 2007. So yeah, I believe this was the first book that she wrote. I did enjoy this one. This is set in modern times though. So that is the part that I wasn't really a huge fan of, but I did still enjoy the characters and everything, and I am excited to get to the second one, as you saw on my March TBR, so I will still be reading through the series, but I would say out of the ones that I've read so far, this was my least favorite, but still good. Here's the description. This also is a library copy, that I bought for super cheap on Amazon, and it came in the mail and had some things in it. Funny story here. There was pictures, Polaroid pictures of every part of the female anatomy that you could possibly guesstimate about, as well as very explicit love letters to said female's boyfriend. And I am so glad that my very young child did not open this book and see these with his little young eyes. I was quite appalled. It was kind of laughable though. Like, me and my husband laughed about it, but it was like, really? Like, really? And so I contacted Amazon and was like, hey, I just wanted to let you know this is what happened. And they gave me like a full refund. Actually paid for an ebook. So there we go. Conclusion of story. Let them know when you get nudie pictures in your books. So moving on to February, wrap up. My first book that I finished was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Was one that is a reread for me. And like I said in my March TBR, I'm so glad that I decided to reread this, because so far I am enjoying it so much more than I did the first read through. I honestly think this is going to be one, kind of like any of SJM's books, that I'm going to end up rereading multiple times. I just love the vibes of this book. Love it. It's so fun, so whimsical, so just like devastatingly brutal. You know what I mean? I don't know how else to word it. Here's the description. Okay, so the next book that I read in February was A Court This Cruel and Lonely. I did read this on my Kindle, and I gave this book 4 solid stars. I genuinely enjoyed this book. It was just so good. Like, it kept me intrigued and interested the entire time, and I just really liked the 2 main characters' kind of like enemies, hate to lovers type relationship going on. Main female character, I really enjoyed her too. She had quite the background, quite the story. So enjoyed seeing her growth and her journey through the book. It was very like Like, there was a couple times where I literally was like, oh, like I like couldn't read fast enough on the page. Like, it just, I loved this author's writing. She has it in the bag. She's really good. Stasia Stark is the author of this book, and I'm excited to read the other ones. I am buddy reading the second one with a friend for March, or within March. Anyway, so yes, excited about this one. Here is the description of said book. So moving on, the next book I read in February was Clockwork Angel by Cassandra Clare. This is the first book in the Infernal Devices. So this is set before Chain of Gold. The main characters in this book are the parents of the characters in Chain of Gold. I really enjoyed this. There again, love the time period that it's set in. Love like the dances and the balls that they have. Like, that's just like my thing. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I will be reading that in March as well. Here is the description. So the next book I read is Lady Midnight by Cassandra Clare. I do not have the description to this one. I'll try to find it online. This is a signed copy, but I did find this at Goodwill. It was literally like $1.99. It didn't have the dust jacket to it. This is what we're working with. Clearly the book itself is still readable, not edible. Readable. And so I had no problems with that. I would like to somehow either get another book with the dust jacket on it, or somehow find just the dust jacket. But either way, I rated this one 4 stars. I did like it. I love the two main characters in this. They kind of have like a Forbidden Lovers vibe going on, like major Forbidden Lovers, like forbidden. And it just got me. It grabbed me. I was in it to win it. I just really enjoyed this book. So I'm looking forward to reading the second one in March. So the next book I read was Ruthless Vows, which is the sequel to Divine Rivals. I buddy read this in like a big chat on Bookstagram. It was super fun. I did probably listen to, I bet you 70% of it audibly on Audible. I'm glad that I did. I gave this 5 stars. It gave me chills. It made me cry. Like, I loved it. I don't know, a lot of people I think didn't, but I personally did. I, however, really also enjoyed Divine Rivals, which I think a lot of people did as well. My mom currently has both of them and she's reading them, so hence why I don't have the physical copy with me. I will not share the description of this one because I don't want to spoil anyone. But I just was like so here for this book. Like, it just was so good. And I think it was a good ending. It was a good conclusion to the duology. I absolutely love Rebecca Ross's writing. I have currently at this point read through all of her books, all of her backlist, and I've loved every single one. Like, her writing is just amazing. It's so good. So I highly suggest starting this duology and picking up Divine Rivals if you have not. So the next book that I read is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. It's a reread for me. This is the second time only that I've read this book. And it was amazing to me, like, how many things that I picked up on that I do not remember from my first read through. Like, it was crazy to me, the little things that like kind of changed the story for me that I didn't notice the first time reading or had just forgotten about, I guess. But like, I'm so glad I did this reread, and I'm so glad that I'm rereading through the entire series, and I'm so excited to get to the next one for March, because like, her writing, her characters, her worlds, literally nothing trumps SJM for me. Like, it is a comfort. She's a comfort author. Her books are comfort books. I will reread them till the end of time. Like, they mean that much to me, and I just absolutely love her books. So here's the description. If you have not read this book yet, what are you doing with your life? Please pick her up. You will not be sorry. So in saying that about SJM, the next book that I read was Throne of Glass by SJM. So this is also a reread for me. I've read through this entire series once, so this is only the second time reading it. And same thing, there were so many things within this book that I caught this time that I either didn't remember the first time or just didn't catch, that I'm like, oh, that makes sense. So many good little tidbits that I had forgotten about or missed or whatever, but so glad I read through this. So excited to continue on with my reread of the series again. And same thing, if you haven't picked this up, please do it. Don't let other people like get in your way of this book. Go run to this book. But here is the background. Okay, so wrapping up my February would be Jane of Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, or Bront, I'm not really sure how you say that. I did find this at Goodwill. It is ginormous. It is super heavy. I paid $2.99 for it, and it just has like pretty artwork. It's kind of dated, But it's like, who would give this up? Like, it's such a classic. I'm gonna try to find a painting. Like, there's just like drawings and paintings in this. Like, look how pretty. Like, that was throughout like the whole book. So I listened to this, I would have to say, halfway on Audible and then halfway read. So this book, I was genuinely pleasantly surprised. I know a lot of the times people judge classics because they can tend to be kind of like stuffy, just maybe hard to follow or understand, but this was not at all, and I absolutely loved it. I have watched the movie with Michael Fassbender, and I forget the female actress in it, but I watched it years ago, absolutely loved it, cried at the end, like it was so good. And so I had that still in my head, and so when I read this, I actually could remember a lot of the things. They followed the book so well in that movie that I kind of knew generally like what was going to happen. And it was just such a good book. It was absolutely fantastic. I highly suggest it. And now it's making me want to read more classics. And I have a whole entire classics shelf over here. Really good ones that I would like to get to. So definitely enjoyed this. It was worth the read. And I will probably be rereading it, honestly. I loved it that much. I gave it 5 stars. So good. Such a good love story. Such a good, like, growth story. Like, just a heroine capturing her amazing ending to her story. Like, it was just so good. So anyway, before my camera decides to poop the bed again, we are going to stop this video here. I have so many fun videos coming up next week for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for subscribing. Like, comment, share, whatever. I just want to make bookish friends and have some bookish besties, you know what I mean? So anyway, guys, I will see you next time.